The Comedians of Carrion Ridge, Essay 10, The Theology of Rot, by K. Brad Barfield. By the 10th week, everything smelled like truth. It was in the sap, in the soil, and the slow decay of pine needles underfoot. Harlan Wickes woke each morning to a scent that was equal parts sweetness and ruin, like fruit gone half overripe. The general called it the perfume of wisdom, though he admitted it ain't a smell for beginners. "You're deep in it now," Beauregard said one morning, strutting along the porch rail. "Most folks never get this far in the rot without calling it quits or starting a church." Rot had become the Ridge's central gospel. The buzzards preached it every evening, sometimes through jokes, sometimes through silence. The message was always the same, that nothing stayed whole forever, and that was the point. Beauregard explained it with the tone of a rooster who'd been teaching the same class for a century. "Everything that falls apart is just telling the truth out loud," he said. "You humans spend your lives pretending to be permanent, but permanence is just slow decomposition with manners." Harlan had stopped arguing by now. His earlier skepticism had melted into a kind of reverent exhaustion. "So what are we supposed to do with that?" he asked. "Celebrate it," said the rooster. "You don't mourn rot, you honor it. It's proof that the story keeps going." That evening, the comedians gathered early, perched low and close, their feathers gleaming in the sunset. The air felt thick with ceremony. This wasn't one of their raucous routines. It had the weight of scripture. Carlin spoke first, his voice sharp as flint. "Death's just God's way of saying next." Then Fox added, "Yeah, and birth is his way of recycling the punchlines that still work." The laughter that followed wasn't mockery, it was communion. Beauregard nodded solemnly. "Rot," he said, "is how the world breathes. When something dies, it exhales what it can't use anymore, and the soil inhales it back. You're part of that breath, Harlan. Always was. You just didn't notice till it started smelling like you." That line landed harder than it should have. Harlan realized he had, in fact, begun to smell faintly of the ridge, smoke, pine, and the sweet musk of slow decay. He didn't find it unpleasant. It felt like belonging. The rooster hopped closer, fixing him with that single milky eye. "Let me tell you a secret," he said. "Everything holy stinks a little. Incense, sweat, sacrifice, it's all the same message in different perfumes. You can't separate grace from its odor." Harlan smiled weakly. "Then what's heaven smell like?" Beauregard crowed once, softly. "Fresh paint and disappointment." The flock erupted again, wings flapping in laughter. The sound carried out over the valley, scattering echoes into the dusk. As the noise faded, one of the younger buzzards, small and solemn, spoke for the first time. His voice was slow and steady, like a preacher winding down a sermon. "Rot ain't the end. It's just the sound of the universe, changing keys." Something about that line struck Harlan deeply. He imagined the world as an old phonograph, the needle scratching through songs of birth, growth, and decay, always changing, never stopping. The comedy wasn't in the end, it was in the rhythm. Later that night, Harlan sat on the perch alone. The moon hung low, heavy as a lid. The smell of the wood seemed stronger now, pungent, honest, alive. He thought about how much of his life he'd spent chasing clean things, clean theories, clean answers, clean conscience. All that effort to stay unsullied by the mess of existence. He looked down at his hands, dirt ground into the lines of his palms, and laughed softly. Maybe this is what understanding looks like, he said aloud. Not clarity, just compost. Beauregard's voice came from the shadows. Careful, son. That's how prophets get started. Well, I don't feel like a prophet, said Harlan. Good, replied the rooster. Prophets are just comedians who forgot they were funny. They sat in silence a long while, the ridge breathing slow around them. Somewhere far off, a whippoorwill called, and the night air seemed to hum in response. Harlan said, finally, General, what happens when the rot's done? The rooster tilted his head toward the stars. Done? He said. Son, rot's never done. It just changes costume. You'll see. You'll be back here one day telling your own jokes to the next fool who thought he could shortcut grace. The wind shifted then, carrying the faint, unmistakable scent of rain mixed with decay, a smell so rich it felt like forgiveness. Harlan closed his eyes and breathed it in. It was in every sense holy.